Welcome to the Naked Relationship Podcast. I'm Adam.
And I'm Kelly.
And this is Burke.
Yeah.
And we're here to talk about... What are we talking about today, babe?
Hardships.
Not the kind in your pants. I've been waiting all of 20 seconds to say that. But no, we're talking about the hardships of being in the lifestyle that is swingers.
That we've encountered so far. Not that everyone has these same hardships.
And if you have had some of these hardships or even want to add to these hardships that we can talk about potentially in the next episode, let us know. Leave us a comment on social media, email us. If you're listening on the Anchor app, you can also leave a voice message that can also be played in the next episode. So let us know. So the first hardship we're going to talk about today is lack of users in our area. So essentially, if we're on a website or an app or a platform, there's not really a whole bunch of users, such as like Spicy Match. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, Spicy Match is the app.
We were on there for 2-3 weeks, and we went through our potential matches pretty quickly, just swiping right or swiping left, but we had 3 people message us. One of them was from, I believe, Italia or España. Italy or Spain.
It was Italy.
She knows better than I do. And the other one was from Florida and one from Hawaii. And the closest one is a 15-hour drive to Florida. So, that just nobody in our area.
Yeah, I mean, we also tried, there's 2 different kinds of apps. Ones that you can do as a couple, which is great, the ones we prefer, because we obviously are wanting to do this together. And the ones where you each set up individual profiles, and then you have to write a very detailed bio about what it is you're wanting, and making sure that they are aware that you are part of a couple. So
I feel like that's the hardest one because, for example, like Bumble and OkCupid, or maybe even Tinder, not saying we've used all of those, we've used some of those, but a lot of people, myself included sometimes, don't read the entire profile. However, if it's like SLS, I will read the entire profile. But again, that's just one of the hardships, is a lot of people, they expect one thing and they don't read the profile, so they're really...
I mean, which is understandable, because it's like picture-based, like your immediate reaction to what this person looks like, so you swipe left or right, which I feel like most of them is that, because they're basing it off Tinder. It's very popular, the swiping.
Yeah, and, speaking of Tinder and Bumble, and, we have tried some platforms such as OkCupid and Bumble. We both tried those. And they were overwhelming for you, very underwhelming for me. I think in the 2.5 weeks we had them, 3 weeks maybe, I had 3 likes altogether, and you had over 200. And there's a lot of people trying to message you, right?
Yeah, because I feel like for the woman, it's a lot easier for me to get messages and matches. But for the guy, it's a whole nother level of...
I mean, I had
crazy.
1.5% of the matches that you did.
Yeah.
In terms of quantity. So, and you even proofed my profile. I was like, do this, do that. This will look good here. That looks good there. Take that word out there. That's shit. Nobody's going to be interested in that. So you proofed my profile.
Yeah,
and
I never realized how difficult it is for a guy on these profiles. Like, for the girl, it's easy. You just kind of wait for the messages to roll in. Excluding Bubble, because the girls have to make the first move on there. But still, it's crazy how difficult, and I appreciate it a lot more, how difficult it is for the men on these social media sites.
I think that's probably why when you're in college, I forgot where I was going with this. I think it was going somewhere like guys would just message you sometimes, be like, hey, you want to fuck? Instead of actually take the time to get to know you. because they're like, oh, I finally got a match. I'm just so horny and it's been so long.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of it. I wouldn't know because my first message to you was literally, hey, what's up?
And now we're getting married.
We getting a trailer hitch.
But yeah, so that's been difficult.
Yeah, and so we ended up putting a stop to those apps simply because you were getting overwhelmed with them. Yeah. I wasn't, clearly. I was getting frustrated. But, it was too much for you. And, you work nights when a lot of people are like finally having a lot of free time on their phones or even with their friends or just not working. And here you are, you're at work. And I'm messaging you saying, hey, did you see that one couple? And then at the same time, you've got probably 5 or 6 guys to respond to on Bumble. And it's frustrating. I get it. Yeah, and then another crazy thing is, which kind of leads into our next one, a lot of people just get frustrated if we don't respond right away. And I think that happened today while we were on our little walk. We went for a walk with our dog.
Yeah.
And this dude was like, so I take you guys aren't interested just because we hadn't responded in a day or two. And it's like, look, dude, we have a life. We have a fur family. Granted, they're not, soccer kids or whatever. But, our life comes first before play,
Exactly. Like, we had other things to do. Like, I know Adam took a day off to use one of his vacation days to spend it with me when I had my day off, which was great. Love spending quality time with this little punk.
That's my my rapper name for my mixtape was Lil Punk.
Oh my god, he actually had a mixtape and made a music video.
I did.
Anyways, back to this issues. So yeah, we obviously have a life, and our relationship comes first, and the swinging part is just let's play. Like, it's after we do the main things in our relationship, like making sure our chores are done, we're ready for work, our house is clean, things like that.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into, I wasn't expecting to talk about this, so this is coming from left field, but it also makes perfect sense because early on in our relationship, if you follow us on Twitter, you've probably seen these tweets, but we struggled with putting, mostly me, I wouldn't say putting our relationship first, but showing that it came first.
Mm-hmm.
Because we both, a lot of it was on me, but we all got really just super excited about potentially being in this lifestyle and just doing things in this lifestyle. I mean, we went from having sex like every day, which was always great, but to having it 3-4 times a day, which is kind of getting back to what we're used to be at. But, it just, your libido was just way higher and mine was too, and we both just got so excited, and in the beginning it just really kind of consumed us. We couldn't not talk about it, and that was frustrating. And so one of the hardships is making our relationship come first regardless, and we've done that a number of ways by disallowing the talk from the dinner table, the bed, which is ironic because we're recording the podcast in the bed, but the bed, when we're doing things together, or date night or something like that, or even when I call Kelly on my way home from work, it's not allowed there. Although we do kind of bend that rule a little bit here and there, but overall, it's mostly our relationship comes first, and sometimes we need to put ourselves in check and say, hey, let's just focus on each other. And if somebody gets butthurt over that, then I'm not going to apologize for putting my relationship first, because at the end of the day, you're my love, you're my uno and only, so that's always going to come first, regardless of if how hot I might think this couple is.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to take a back seat.
Yeah, we're number one.
Numero uno, mi amor.
Alright, what else we got?
Okay, so next on the list would be web design. So SLS is probably I wouldn't say our most successful, although we've met a couple off of there, and they were great. They were amazing. They messaged us about another time about doing it one more time, and that was our first full swap, which is great. And however, the problem with SLS is like I feel like it's got a very poor UI, so very poor user interface or user experience, if you will, or UX.
This website is like built like it was built in the 90s, okay? And we're in 2018.
I am surprised that the mobile version is somewhat mobile friendly. I'm very surprised by that, just based off of the way that it looks. But aside from the aesthetics of it, it's navigating it can be decently hard in terms of, if I wanted to add photos to this gallery or that gallery, they kind of make it a little bit more of a process than it needs to be. And I understand that there's an approval process, but, I think it's just, you said it best, it's just too much clicking to get to the one thing that you want.
Exactly. And this is one of the websites that is more focused on the swinger lifestyle and like having a profile where it's the couple. So we're both on it, we both have access to it, and we each kind of filter through profiles and messages that we get, but like using it is just so difficult and archaic, and I hate it. I wish it was more like Bumble, Tinder, like one of these newer apps.
And speaking of apps, they used to have an app. I don't know what happened to it. My guess is, Apple might have, and this is, you know what? That's speculation. I'm not gonna go there. But they used to have an app, and, I think that if they had an app, it would have a lot more people online on a more consistent basis, because if you have an app, chances are you're going to go to that first instead of typing in a web address, logging in every single time you refresh the page, or it times out after, I believe, about an hour, so you have to log back in after an hour of inactivity, which I understand, but at the same time, my Pornhub account doesn't log me out after an hour of inactivity, so and they have an app for Android. So she's over here trying to refresh her SLS on her phone, but at the same time, she last looked at it like 30 minutes ago. So,
just looking.
So, but so those are some of the frustrations with it. But I'd say overall, just make it a lot more 2018, almost 2019, and make an app. Pre-Fun has an app, and that's another app that we're on, and their app is pretty good. There's, it needs to have some updates to it as well, but sorry if that seems a little nitpicky, but, part of my job for the longest time was web design and development, so I have a little bit of an eye for those things, so I apologize if I'm coming across as an asshole, but the other thing is pick hunters and people not getting it. So when I say pick hunters, I don't know which podcast I heard this term come from, but if you're listening, shout out to you. You know who you is. And so people that aren't really down to fuck, they're really just, or maybe not even down to fuck, but more like down to have an experience and meet new people and help me out here.
Open yourself up and be vulnerable to meeting new people. They just can't get out of their comfort zone. So they do the next best thing, which just they talk to us and we exchange pics. And it's mostly them asking for these pictures, which is understandable because you kind of want to know who you're talking to and know them on a more intimate level, but this is all they do is just continuously ask for pics or videos.
Like, here's the difference. We're talking to, a couple of couples, and I think we've been talking back and forth 2 or 3 weeks, and we haven't exchanged anything but face pictures. Until today, I asked them if we could send a video, and they agreed. And, I think it's great that we asked first, not trying to toot our own horn, But I feel like that's kind of something that you should do out of respect, is ask first before you send the nudies, if you will. Um, you know, and I didn't ask for anything in return. I just wanted to send a picture or video or whatever it was, you know. But there's other couples that we've been talking to that we got pretty far into the conversation before any images were traded or even shared. And I think that that's great because, you know, it puts the conversation first and you get to feel each other out a little bit more. You get to, it almost makes it seem like it's not all about sex, you know? And for me, another reason why I don't like pick hunters is because a lot of them use terminology consistent with making it out to seem like my queen is a piece of meat. And she's not. You are not. You are not a piece of meat. You are an amazing human being that I love very much. And I think one guy even said, nice jugs. Like, what are you, in fucking high school? Like, are you a frat boy? Like, go drink your frat water and just, like...
Oh, my God.
Pick someone up there, you know? But it's just... It's also kind of a respect thing, too. Because it's like... I understand you might want to kind of know what you're getting yourself into, but... When pics is all that you ask for, and that's where you keep trying to steer the conversation, or keep trying to steer the conversation to something like, I bet that pussy just needs to be stretched. Like, that's a major turnoff for me. I don't know about you, but it is for me.
I agree.
Yeah. We're just bitching.
Sometimes you need a vent.
Yeah, it's frustrating, though, and then... I guess kind of getting back to the whole thing about pick hunters, but also kind of maybe also go into, you need to read people's profiles. You know,
Yes.
if it's on like Bumble, or if it's like a picture-based app like Bumble or Tinder or OkCupid, I would rarely read the profiles. But, you know, if it's like a swinger, like 3Fun or Field or SLS or... some of the other ones that were on Cassidy, we're on Cassidy, but we're not paid members, so we never really get on there. You know, I will read the profile before I even say, hey, Kelly, what do you think about these people? Should we send them a message? You know, just because that's actually more up our alley of what we want. And the people that are on those platforms are pretty much in the know and are pretty like-minded, I feel like. You know, because they're on SLS, for example. They're on there for, you know, a full swap or soft swap or something along those lines. And so it just makes it easier. Whereas, like, on Tinder and Bumble, people weren't really down. Like, I think you had one gentleman, you know, who was very respectful in his declination, where he declined you. Because he said, you know, I respect that, but I'm very religious, and I plan on getting married one day. And he said something like he was hoping to take you on a date or something, but he wasn't into the whole non-monogamous, which was, you know, I felt that was a great way to respond to that, you know? Like, it wasn't like you're a whore and you're going to hell or anything like that. It wasn't anything negative. It was just super nice and very respectful, you know? But there's a lot of other people that just aren't down with that, and you know, that's okay too. Everybody does them. I think another thing, maybe this isn't a hardship, but maybe you know, letting people down, like us letting people down. You know, I'm always afraid sometimes I'm going to hurt someone's feelings, but when they send us a message and I say, hey, you're not what we're looking for, but, you know, best of luck, you know?
Yeah. You gotta be open, upfront, and honest with these people.
Yeah, and that's the hardship right there, is just being open and honest with other people that express interest in you, and vice versa, you know? It's difficult. Have you had any bad experience with letting people down?
No. It's not, because we're telling the truth. So I have no issues with it.
Yeah, it's just kind of, it can be difficult, I guess, but, you know, I forget which swinger podcast it was. It's probably Swinging Along 69. Oh, sorry, that's their Twitter. Swinging Along. They basically, before we got into this, they I listened to one of their podcasts and they said, let them down easy. Don't be disrespectful, like, and don't not respond. Like, always respond and say, you're not what we're looking for. You know, instead of, I don't like the way that you look, or I don't like your age, or something like that. You know, because then, like, you're being honest with them and you're still getting your point across without coming across as an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or like a bully or whatever. So, what about you?
What about me?
Hey, baby, let me get your number. Anyway, do you have anything else to add? I think we've covered the majority of things. Poor web design, people not down. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, do not.
Did I talk too much?
You always talk too much. Oh, that's you, but I love you.
Te amo mucho, mi amor. I'm learning Espanol. Okay, so that's our episode for tonight. We are going to let y'all go, and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at TNR Podcasts. And we have a new website. It's not really a website, it's just got all of our links, and it'll be pinned to the top of our social media on Twitter and Facebook. That has our website with all of our links and some light artwork and some bios and stuff. So you can always look for that to have all of our new episodes. So again, I'm Adam.
And I'm Kelly.
And Burke is too far away to say meow for the night. So everyone, thanks for listening, and please reach out to us with any comments. Thank you.